Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 3rd of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly how both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are really going to introduce brand new eras and a brand new mythology in general. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, obviously a lot of fans at this moment right now are very much divided over from what happened with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and a lot of the Star Wars community is, of course, really on edge on whether or not Bob Iger and Chapek are really going to be able to complete this task of the big goal that they have in mind, to make Star Wars as big, if not bigger, than the MCU, not just in size, but also, of course, as far as its success goes. So, for starters, we already have over 10 years worth of Star Wars projects in the early development phase on Disney+. That is more than 10 Star Wars projects in the works as we speak for Disney+ alone. And then you have, of course, the Star Wars movies on the side. So that seems to be Disney's focus right now, where a lot of their material is going to go on Disney+, and then you got these major movies on the side that are going to be theatrical releases. Thankfully, they're sticking to theaters. Now, the thing with Disney Star Wars, obviously, is that these movies gotta be pretty much, on point. But the new universe, such as the books, the novels, the comics, everything that's gonna combine with the movies and the TV shows, really is going to show us whether or not this new EU is gonna match up to the old one that we got back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now, with that being said, the thing about everything related to Disney Star Wars is, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as their new Star Wars universe. Now, it's noted that currently both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are working together as a team in order to reunite the fans around the world and to create a better and brighter future for the Star Wars brand moving forward. One of the main priorities is the new Star Wars universe that will introduce a brand new mythology to Star Wars fans around the world, where as of now, both Dave Filoni, George Lucas, and Jon Favreau are working on a story that will take place in a post-Episode 9 era, where Luke Skywalker will come back to life to help Rey rebuild the Jedi Order properly, and during a new war conflict that will take place some years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Now, the plan by Lucasfilm is to have Luke Skywalker come back to life temporarily to face a new foe in this post-Episode 9 era. This new foe is described to be the literal spirit of Emperor Palpatine in the body of a dark acolyte. Now, this was the original idea by J.J. Abrams, in case you guys did not know, and even George Lucas, that did not make the final cut since Kathleen Kennedy initiated many scenes to be deleted for the movie. Now, it's described that the major plan is for Luke to use the power of the Wills that he learned from his father Anakin Skywalker during his time on the world of Ahch-To, well before the events of The Force Awakens. This new power from these godlike creatures are described to allow Luke to use this power to come back to life only one time, to fight the common foe in the Star Wars universe. Now, the return of both Palpatine and Luke is Disney's attempt to regain many of the lost fans that were upset with the sequel trilogy, where, of course, the fight between Luke and Palpatine is said to not just be for the books, novels, and comics as well as video games, but also for the Rise of Skywalker sequel series that will be in animated form for Disney+, that is aimed to be released sometime in either 2022 or 23. The return of Palpatine once more is said to be their way of copying Star Wars Legends and doing something different at the same time. In Legends, Palpatine came back to life twice, and in an abandoned story by, of course, George Lucas for Star Wars Legends that was not approved by George, took place after the Legacy comics in which Luke was supposed to come back to life before Disney took over Lucasfilm. But at the time, the story was cancelled since Disney was taking over the books and the comics before the movies were even being made, and that Luke coming back to life is also based on that specific abandoned concept. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars here is that you could see that they really are in damage control mode. I mean, there's really no way of denying this. I mean, there's really no way of it. We see what happened with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, specifically with the box office results for Episode 9 that pretty much proved that a lot of fans were over the sequel trilogy. They pretty much had enough of it, and like I've said in my initial spoilers review and my regular review, I thought The Rise of Skywalker was an okay film. Was it a great Star Wars movie? Absolutely not. Not in my opinion. That's just my hot take on things. I think that there are a lot of scenes in there that are very heartwarming and very well made, but there's also a lot of scenes in The Rise of Skywalker that are just very, I guess you could say, poorly put together. Whether it's how they wrote the scene or directed it, whatever it may be. So it really was like an up and down emotional roller coaster for me with The Rise of Skywalker. To me, I think it was a little bit sloppy because they really had to speed up production. So this attempt to bring Luke back to life in this new universe temporarily, and even bring back Palpatine for these two characters to face once more, is somewhat based off of the Dark Empire comic books from the 1990s, which I think is going to be very interesting. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.